You slept last night. Maybe not great, but you slept. You had your coffee. Nothing is technically wrong. And still, you woke up already tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. The kind that's there when you open your eyes and still there when you close them. You've told yourself you just need a better night's rest, a weekend, a vacation. But somewhere deep down, you already know that's not it because you've tried all of that and you're still running on empty. Here's the thing nobody tells you. You're not tired. You're empty. And those are not the same problem. When we feel drained, we reach for the obvious fixes. More sleep, more caffeine, a break. We treat exhaustion like it's always physical. And sometimes it is. Sometimes you really are just tired and your body just needs rest. But have you noticed how often the rest doesn't work? You take the day off and by the afternoon you feel just as hollow as before. You sleep in and wake up heavy. You get the vacation you were craving and somewhere on day 3, that same emptiness catches up with you. That's the clue. When rest doesn't restore you, it's usually because the thing that's tired isn't your body, it's your soul. Empty is what happens when you keep pouring out without ever being filled. You can do everything right and still end up here. You can serve and show up and pray and read and slowly run yourself dry because somewhere along the way, it all became something you do instead of somewhere you receive. There's a moment in scripture that shows this perfectly. The prophet Elijah had just won the biggest victory of his life. Fire had fallen from heaven. He'd stood against hundreds of enemies, and God had answered him in front of everyone. And then right after his greatest high, we find him alone in the wilderness, sitting under a tree, so drained he tells God he doesn't want to go on. This is the man who called down fire, and he is completely empty. Notice what God does. He doesn't lecture him. He doesn't hand him a to-do list. He lets him sleep. He gives him food. He meets him gently, twice. And only then, once Elijah is filled again, does he speak about what's next. God treated the emptiness before he addressed anything else. Because you can't pour from a cup that's already dry. So how do you know if you're empty and not just tired? A few signs. Good moments don't reach you anymore. Something happens that should make you happy and you feel it from a distance, like it's behind glass. Prayer starts to feel like talking to the ceiling. You still do it, you just don't feel like anyone's on the other end. And here's one more that catches people off guard. The things you used to love start to feel like chores. Worship, the Bible, church, time with God. They used to fill you up. Now they're just one more thing on the list, one more thing you're behind on. You get short with the people you love most. Not because they did anything, but because there's nothing left in you to give them. And rest stops working. You do the things that used to refill you, and they just don't. If you're nodding at these, hear me clearly. That's not a character flaw. That's a fuel gauge, and it's pointing at empty. Here's what most of us get wrong. We were never designed to generate our own supply. We were designed to be filled and to give out of the overflow. Jesus put it in a picture. He said, He's the vine, and we're the branches. A branch doesn't produce anything on its own. It carries fruit, but only because life is flowing into it from somewhere else. Cut it off from the vine, he said, and it can do nothing. That's what emptiness is. It's a branch trying to bear fruit while quietly disconnected from the source. You're still doing the motions of a full life, but the life itself isn't flowing anymore. And here's the part that stings. Even serving God can empty you if you're doing it for Him instead of from Him. Remember the two sisters, Martha and Mary. Martha is doing everything right, working, serving, making it all happen to honor Jesus. Mary just sits at His feet and listens. And when Martha complains that she's doing all the work alone, Jesus doesn't praise her hustle. He gently tells her she's worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen it. Martha was serving Jesus and missing Jesus at the very same time. And if you're not careful, so can you. So what do you do? And here's where it gets surprising. The answer is not try harder. It's almost the opposite. Jesus said it plainly. Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Not work harder for me. Come to me. The invitation isn't to do more. It's to stop and be filled. That means presence before productivity. Before you ask God for the strength to get through your day, just sit with Him for a few minutes and let Him refill you with no agenda, no list, nothing to accomplish. Receiving before doing. It looks small. 5 quiet minutes in the morning before the noise starts. A walk where you're not listening to anything, just letting your mind be with God. Reading a few verses slowly, not to check a box, but to actually hear them. That's not wasted time. That's the vine reconnecting to the branch. That's the cup being filled again so there's something to pour. So if you've been dragging yourself through your days, wondering what's wrong with you, maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe you're just empty. And the good news about empty is this: empty things can be filled. You don't have to earn your way back to full. You just have to come and let Him do what only He can do. So before you push through one more exhausted day stop, sit with God for a few minutes today. Let Him fill what the world has been draining. You're not too far gone. You're just running on empty. And He has never once run out.